Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to this to another video on deploying your Django project to EC2 using Docker. In the first video, I just showed you guys a basic introduction to Docker, how you guys can set your Django project up and get it running using Docker and Docker Compose. And in this part of the video, I'm going to be showing how you guys can deploy a project on EC2 and run it successfully using Docker. This won't be a long video because it's very straightforward. We have mostly done we have done the main part in the first video where we set up a Docker file and went through all of the different servers that we had to set up. Now, in order to save time and get to the point directly, what I have done is I've already pushed the changes and pulled them into my EC2 machine, which I made in the previous video, which was setting up a Docker file and the docker-compose file as well. Now, I'm already connected to my EC2 instance using my VS Code. And I'm already inside of the main Django directory. There are only a few things which I need to do in order to get this running. The first thing is I have to make sure that Docker has been installed. So the command to installing Docker is, and I have it saved over here, it's sudo apt install docker.io. So I'm talking about EC2 Ubuntu, but some of you might be using Amazon Linux or some other operating system, so that this command can vary. In your case, you probably will need to have you'll probably need to use yum, if I'm not mistaken, or some other method. I'm just talking with respect to Ubuntu Linux on EC2. So sudo apt install docker.io. This was already installed, so nothing major to change. Let me just adjust my screen. And the other thing which you guys need to install is sudo apt install docker-compose, which has already been installed as well. So I already installed these two packages before beginning this video. And make sure that you have sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. These two commands already run. So these are the commands what I'm talking about. Upgrade, just to make sure that all the packages are updated the way they need to be. In my case, I've already run these commands. Sudo apt update. Looks okay. Let me see. Okay, it is downloading some packages. Okay, now with Docker and docker-compose already installed, the other thing which we want to do is to make sure that the Docker engine is running. So we can do sudo systemctl status docker, just to see the status of Docker. It is inactive at the moment, and what we can do is sudo systemctl start docker to get the Docker engine up and running. And then if we do the same command again, sudo systemctl status docker, it's active and it's running. So that is exactly what we needed. Now with Docker installed, the other step is pretty straightforward. All we need to do is we need to run docker-compose the way we did it in the previous video. What we will do is we will run sudo docker-compose up build. Let's see what this does. So it's already downloading the packages. Okay, let's wait for this to finish. I don't want to pause the video. I actually want you guys to see whether this runs successfully or not, if we do run into any issues, and if we do, let's just resolve them together. But yeah, I think this should be good to go. So it's installing. Yes, it's running the Docker main Docker file commands, which is installing, setting up the env. It has activated the env, running install -r requirement.txt. Okay, yeah, I am aware of this warning. It's saying that we should not be running pip using root user, which can cause conflicts. But I will. Okay, so it has first started the db container. So the db container has been started, but there is something wrong over here. The db container has been started, but the main Django application is saying, let me just adjust the screen over here. Okay, so the main why did it give me this error? So it's saying that the server was not able to connect to the DB, even though the DB I think has started. So I think yeah, so I already faced this issue to be honest, and I know why it's happening. The app service doesn't truly wait for the DB service to finish and be ready. It starts before the DB service is even ready. So there are two ways to handle this. We can either use a wait underscore for underscore DB command, or we can there's another fix which I'll show you guys in a moment. But now if I were to rerun this again, for some reason it will run. Now it will, because my DB service has started. Not one of the best practices, but there's a solution for this. So yeah, now it's running. As you can see, it has applied all of the migrations and it's running because the DB was initialized successfully. So the thing is that my initial assumption was that this depends underscore on inside of my app service. This will first wait for the DB to be completely ready before it runs the app service. But for some reason, initially in the initially when the DB has not been set up, this doesn't truly wait for the DB service to be ready. It starts the app service before the DB is ready to accept connections. So there is a fix for it, and I will get to the fix in a moment. But first, I would like to show you guys that Docker is ready to accept connections, or the Docker app service is ready to accept connections at port 8000. Now, the only other thing which we need to change is, if I can go to my etc folder, which contains my Nginx file, and I've already made this change. Just wanted to show you guys what we need to do. I want my Nginx to listen to port 8000. Before, it was listening to a Gunicorn service from one of the previous videos. Now I just wanted to listen to 8000 directly, and on port 8000 we have Docker running, or Docker is listening to port 8000. How is that? Well, if you can look at the docker-compose file, I have exposed port 8000 of the Docker container and linked it to the port 8000 of the host machine. So any connection that hits the port 8000 of the host machine will be redirected to the port 8000 of the Docker machine. The Docker machine will send a response back, and it will be then redirected to the 8000 port, and so on and so forth. I've already went through the theory of this. So if I can possibly just open up 54 like this. So it's running. I am seeing a few logs as well. So looks like it is running. But the thing is that if I close this VS Code right now, this terminal will kill the Docker instance. So to run this in the background, let me just clear it. Not like this, clear like this, and obviously it will not work anymore. What we need to do is sudo docker just do /d. So -d. What it will do is it will run this entire process in the background, and that is exactly what we need to do. So that if I close this VS Code session, it will not terminate my Docker session as well. So as you can see, if I go back, it's running. It's running. This is exactly what I wanted. Now if I were to close this terminal, let's see what we do. Yep, I have closed the terminal. It's running. It should be running. It should be running. Yep, it's running. We are not seeing any major issue. So yeah, I mean, this was a very basic level introduction to implementing Docker on one of your EC2 machines. What I will do in the next couple of videos is that I will add a few more services, such as adding a Celery service, a Redis service as well. There are like multiple services, and just to show you guys the power of Docker, you will not need to set up Redis or install Redis yourself on EC2, or set up all the prerequisites for Celery yourself. You'll not need to expose any port. There's nothing that you guys will need to do. All you will need to do is to set up a service inside of your Docker compose file, and Docker will take care of the rest. That is why I personally find Docker to be one of the best solutions out there in order to quickly deploy any Django project or Node project for that matter within a few moments. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. If you did, feel free to give it a like, share it with your friends and family, for that helps me out a lot. I'll try to make more and more content, and I'll try to improve the quality of my content as well. And your critical feedback is welcome at all times, because that really helps me improve the quality of the videos which I make. So yeah, till we meet again in the next video, this is Mohit Lodhi signing off.